Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy has just been a massive IP in the last, I would like to say, 10 years since Guardians of the Galaxy released in 2014. It's like you have the three movies, they had a TV show, and they even had two video games, not just one. But I want to center on a single video game today. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This game flew so far under the radar, it's kind of insane. Because it only sold 2 million copies before it was put on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus Extra. And that sucks, because this game to me is just, it's so good. It's very easily, I would say, better than Marvel's Avengers. And the only games that beat it, the only game that beats it in the Marvel sphere is Marvel Spider-Man. It's even better than Miles Morales, in my opinion. But the reason it flew so far under the radar is because Square Enix had too much expectations. They thought Marvel's Avengers and Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy would sell just as much as Marvel's Spider-Man, even though one, Spider-Man is, I would say, triple as big as Guardians of the Galaxy at the time, and two, because it's Square Enix. It's like they expect all their games to do well. I mean, they literally, every one of their games is expected to sell at least 4 or 5 million units. Pretty sure the Avengers made that, but the problem is they got so much backlash, it wasn't that profitable. And yeah, this game wasn't a live service game, and it wasn't anything. It was just a good quality game with a story that rivals Marvel Spider-Man in gameplay that, although it doesn't rival Marvel Spider-Man, is so good that I am shocked people don't play it. Hey, but yeah, I'm Josh from Thundermite Studios, and today let's get into the highly underrated Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. The plot of Guardians of the Galaxy to me, although not being extremely original, it starts to become its own thing around about halfway through the story, and it's so incredibly solid. It's not like something like Marvel Spider-Man where there are some amazing parts and then there are some iffy parts. The story of this game is just so solid, it's rock solid for me. Not amazing, not terrible, rock solid. It's like its plot is very similar to how I feel about, what's the movie called? That's how I feel about Aquaman. Not amazing, but rock solid. But yeah, the plot of Guardians of the Galaxy is as following. On Peter Quill's 13th birthday, the Chitauri attack Peter's household. They kidnap Peter and they kill his mother, Meredith. Many years later, Peter is now a mercenary named Star-Lord and leads the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're out of money, so in order to make money, they head to the forbidden quarantine zone established by the Nova Corps to store debris of a war and to capture a rare monster for Lady Hellbender. However, they are forced to flee the quarantine zone when Peter and Rocket release some ancient threat that used to be in cahoots with Adam Warlock. The Guardians of the Galaxy flee, but are taken in by the Hollow's Hope, and Peter meets his former lover, Kor-El. They detain the group, and along with the Grand Unifier, but the Grand Unifier does something, and they get blown up. While being processed, Peter Quill meets a young girl as well, a cadet named Nikki Gold, who happens to be Kor-El's daughter. Kor-El then later agrees that the Guardians have 3 seconds to pay the hefty fine. Now completely broke, the Guardians plan a scheme where they would scam Lady Hellbender by selling one of their own. This plan goes awry, and the Guardians are forced to flee, though not obtaining the money necessary to cover their fine. The Guardians then travel to the Rock, which is a Nova Corps outpost where Hollow's Hope is docked, but find several officers stationed there. Claiming they must spread the promise, have mutated to the Hollow's Hope and leave the station, the Guardians decide to flee to nowhere where they find the head of security, Cosmo the Space Dog, you may know from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Cosmo agrees to aid the Guardians in investigating the Hollow's Hope, which is now transmitting a mysterious signal. Then they get teleported to the Hollow's Hope, they investigate it, and they realize that now something called Faith Energy is powering Raker and the Church. They also learn the matriarch is Nikki, and for the rest of the game, Quill tries to save Nikki, his own daughter. The Guardians then leave, and they try to attempt to enlist the help of the Zadian World Mind, but it concludes that the Church's victory is inevitable and flees the galaxy with the remaining Nova Corps. Drax then succumbs to the promise and imprisons the team, right? So Mantis helps save them. They go to a really lengthy cave segment that probably was the worst part of the game. And after that, Drax is now good, and they find the Golden God, who aka is Adam Warlock. You may know him from Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He faked his death and is hiding on the Mantis planet, but Warlock reveals that an alien entity controlling Warlock used to be a part of him, and is now his dark side. With no other option, the Guardians turn to Lady Hellbender for help. They subdue and give the legendary monster Fin Fang Foom for her, and she agrees to aid in the assault of the church. During their assault, Riker traps the Guardians in an energy field, but Peter is able to enter Nikki's promise. With the help of a bunch of, depending on who you help throughout the game, they'll help you. For example, I played the game twice in the last 2 years, and I've gotten everybody to help me. I'm just a nice guy, right? But you always get the help of Lady Hellbender, but sometimes you'll never get the help of, the World Mine and Cosmo are optional. It kind of sucks. It really sucks that I I let Cosmo and the World Mine help me. I really wouldn't have done it if I could have gone back, because there were some really cool fights that I wanted to do, but Cosmo and the World Mine just kind of intervened, and it really did suck, honestly. But yeah, you defeat them. Nikki joins the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Adam's Warlock's dark side releases throughout the gem to kill you. You stop him. Adam Warlock becomes the keeper of the gem, and the Guardians say that they can call on them at any time. And yeah, that's a really wonky. It's like 10 a.m. I'm tired. Interpretation of like Guardians of the Galaxy, but this story is just so rock solid, unlike my explanation, that you really have to play it to see how solid it is. The themes of loss, the themes of sadness, the themes of family are just not seen. It's like a Fast and Furious movie, but they're not seen in video games that often. The theme of loss is shown a lot. So is the theme of family, but they don't show them together very often. And not in movies, it's very common, but not in video games. And that, to me, Guardians of the Galaxy feels like a movie. It's like Marvel Spider-Man does not feel like a movie. Miles Morales does not feel like a movie. Avengers does not feel like a movie. It's just like, to me, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is more of a movie than a video game. But yeah, that's enough of talking about its plot. I think the plot is I only have a few issues with the plot. Number one, it was kind of stupid how Drax got caught by the Promise. I mean, you've seen it, and you've seen how fake it is, but you still get caught by it. Although I can kind of understand they wanted a family moment. Two, another thing I had a really big complaint with was that, straight up, it was so obvious that Adam Warlock was alive. They don't say how he died, he just went missing. He went MIA. Missing in action. It's so obvious he's alive. But, like, this is a rock solid plot. But yeah, let's dive into the gameplay now. The gameplay is just as good. Alright, so the gameplay of Guardians of the Galaxy is a little wonky. Basically, you have Peter Quill. It's a third-person shooter, we'll call it, although it barely counts. Action-adventure. Then you have control of the Guardians, and throughout the game, you'll unlock one of their 4 abilities. Right, and you can basically use them in combat strategically, or you can just spam them all on one heavy enemy and blast the rest like I do. I played this game on the hardest difficulty. It's not difficult at all. It's one of the easiest games I've ever played. It's not easy. It's not. I know I keep comparing it, but it's not Spider-Man PS4 level easy. But it is definitely easier than a game like Jedi Fallen Order, which I am streaming live 3 times a week or more. So come join me. Go on my channel, click the live tab, and just watch my streams. And it's not as it's not as easy as other games I've played, but the bottom line is it's an extremely easy game. Basically, you have choice between Peter Quill's blasters. He also has 4 abilities. Then you can go over to Groot, who is Peter Quill's in the middle. He's meant for attack and defense. Groot is purely defense. He's meant for if you want to take down a group of enemies or just hold the group of enemies down. He's meant basically for border control, whatever you call that. Then there's Gamora. Gamora is weird because I think Gamora is probably the most useful. She's high damage. She's mid-range damage, but she has like a shorter cooldown. So she's the one you want to utilize the most, at least in my playthrough. Then there's Drax, who is he does high damage. His cooldown's like a little longer though. And he's probably the most, and then there's Rocket, who is meant for there's two high damages. There's medium damage. No, there's medium damage, good crowd control in Gamora, bad crowd control, but good damaging Drax, good damage, good crowd control in Rocket, and low damage but amazing crowd control in Groot. So every Guardian has a use for a certain gameplay. Although you're going to be using Groot, Rocket. You won't be using Gamora. You won't be using Gamora very often. I found myself only using her when the other abilities were down. But yeah, and then you're gonna unlock special abilities, which, like, if I can remember correctly, is invincibility for a few seconds for Star-Lord. Gamora, it's like a high damage attack. Same with Drax. For Rocket, it's a massive gun that does a lot of damage to a lot of targets. And for Groot, it's healing, which is probably the most useful because once you get Groot's healing ability, you'll never die, even on the hardest difficulty. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, the gameplay it's simple, but it's executed so well. But yeah, now that we talk about the simplistic gameplay, let's talk about quickly the character Star-Lord. Slightly different from what you've seen in the movies. Simple, charismatic personality, but he's more responsible than he is in the movies. Great dad, and he's a little less funny, I think. Gamora, a little too serious. They don't dive too much into her character in this game. She's probably she's the least humanized in this game. Groot's already humanized. He's a nice guy, right? Drax is extreme. They really dive into Star-Lord, Drax, and Rocket. They really do. Rocket also dives into not as much as Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but still. And yeah, that's it. But this story's like 9-10 hours long. If you go in pure story, not gameplay, there's like 5 hours of cutscenes in this game. And yeah, but do you really expect them to dive too hard into each character? No. The main character and there'd be another character they dive really into. See, PS4 they'll dive into Miles and Peter. Spider-Man 2 they'll probably dive into Miles, Peter, and maybe like Harry. Miles Morales they dive into the Tinker and Miles, and Marvel's Avengers they dive into Miss Marvel and a little bit for each of the other Avengers. Jeff on order they dive into Cal and Seer. They just dive into a bunch of characters and it's weird. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. This video was probably one of my more mid videos. I had to get this out. It's unscripted, which is weird for me, but I hope you guys enjoyed it still. Thank you guys for the support on my Spider-Verse video. Please watch that because we are so close to surpassing my #1 video. It's at 284 as of filming. And yeah, I don't know when you guys are going to be seeing this, but when you guys are seeing this, I may be streaming. Depends, because I'm going to be streaming 11 a.m., and that's about an hour and a half. So, yeah, I'm just from my studios. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, check out all my other videos, and stay electric.